Summer 1940. Europe is on its knees. France fell in 6 weeks. Poland, Denmark, Norway, Belgium, the Netherlands, all crushed under the Nazi boot. Hitler dominates the continent like no conqueror since Napoleon. Only one country is still standing, an island and its sky. What is about to unfold over the next few months will be the first major battle in human history fought entirely in the air. A battle where a few hundred pilots will hold the fate of Western civilization in their hands. This is how it happened. By June 1940, Adolf Hitler is at the peak of his power. His plan for England is called Operation Seelowe, Operation Sea Lion. The idea? Cross the English Channel with amphibious forces and invade the south of England. But here's the problem. To cross the Channel, German barges and ships need protection. And to protect them, Germany first needs to control the skies above England. And to control those skies, the Royal Air Force must be destroyed. That is the mission Hitler hands to his Air Marshal, Hermann Göring, a man of towering ego, obsessed with glory, and deeply convinced that his Luftwaffe can crush the RAF in a matter of weeks. He is wrong. But it will take a great deal of blood to prove it. On paper, the matchup is absurdly one-sided. The Luftwaffe fields 2,600 operational aircraft, battle-hardened pilots, veterans of the Spanish Civil War and the campaigns across France. 2 fearsome aircraft leading the charge: the Heinkel He-111 bomber and the Messerschmitt Bf-109, one of the finest fighter planes in the world. Against them, the RAF can put up roughly 650 fighters at the start of the battle. 2 aircraft to defend the kingdom: the rugged Hawker Hurricane and the legendary Supermarine Spitfire. Pilots who are young, often inexperienced, but fighting over their own soil. And the British have one secret weapon the Germans are dangerously underestimating: radar. A chain of stations lining the southern coast, capable of detecting incoming enemy formations long before they arrive. For the first time in history, the defenders could see the attack coming. That single advantage will matter more than anyone on either side fully understands. Behind every great battle, there is a strategist. Here, it is Air Vice-Marshal Keith Park, a quiet, methodical New Zealander commanding 11 Group Fighter Command, the unit responsible for protecting London and the southeast of England. Park has grasped something crucial. He cannot afford to lose aircraft. Every Spitfire shot down is a Spitfire that cannot be replaced fast enough. His strategy is precise interception, meeting German raids with carefully sized squadrons, never committing everything at once, always keeping a reserve, always grinding the enemy down. It is a strategy of survival, elegant, cold, and brutally effective. The official start of the battle is July 10th, 1940. Göring opens with attacks on British shipping convoys in the Channel, a way of probing the defenses, of forcing the RAF to engage. The British respond. The first dogfights break out above the gray waters of the Channel. Pilots aged 19, 20, 22, fighting at 15,000 feet in sweltering cockpits, at speeds approaching 400 miles an hour. For the German pilot, every minute spent over England is a gamble with his life. The Bf-109 has just 10 minutes of effective combat time over London before it has to turn back. Gets shot down over England and its captivity. For the British pilot, getting shot down over home soil might mean a parachute jump and a return to base by evening. That detail, seemingly minor, will weigh heavily on the outcome. By mid-August, Göring shifts tactics. Hitting convoys isn't enough. To destroy the RAF, he needs to strike at the source: the airfields, the aircraft factories, the radar stations, the command infrastructure. On August 13, 1940, Adlertag, Eagle Day, the Luftwaffe launches its largest assault yet. Hundreds of bombers, escorted by fighters, pouring across the English coast in wave after wave. The weeks that follow are the hardest of the entire battle. Airfields at Biggin Hill, Manston, and Kenley are hammered. Some are nearly put out of action. Controllers direct fighters from operations rooms buried under rubble. Ground crews repair aircraft under falling bombs. Pilots fly 4-5 sorties a day. Some fall asleep in their cockpits between missions. The attrition is brutal. The RAF is losing pilots faster than it can train replacements. By early September 1940, the situation is critical. The RAF is running on empty. Göring is 2 weeks away from winning. And then, one of the strangest turning points of the entire war. On the night of August 24th, a group of German bombers, lost off course, accidentally dropped their payload over civilian London. Churchill orders immediate retaliation. The RAF bombs Berlin. Hitler is furious. Göring is humiliated. And in his rage, Göring makes the decision that may have changed the course of history. He orders the attacks on RAF airfields to stop. London will be the new target. For the people of London, the nightmare begins. Night after night, the city burns. The Blitz has started. But for the RAF, it is an unexpected gift. The airfields can be repaired, the squadrons can regroup, the pilots can breathe. The entire British air defense machine begins to recover, while the Luftwaffe exhausts itself bombing rubble and terrifying civilians. September 15th, 1940. This will be the single most intense day of the entire battle. The Luftwaffe launches its largest raids of the war. Over 1,000 aircraft heading for England. Churchill is in the underground operations room with Keith Park. He watches the luminous boards tracking every squadron. He turns to Park and asks quietly, "What reserves do we have?" Park answers, "There are none, sir." Everything is committed, absolutely everything. That day, the Luftwaffe loses 60 aircraft. The RAF loses 26. German pilots returning to France report back. The British still have dozens of fresh squadrons in the air. It is not quite true. But the radar, the rotation, the discipline of Park's system has made it appear that way. The Germans believe it. 2 days later, Hitler indefinitely postpones Operation Sea Lion. The Battle of Britain is over. The RAF has held. Between July and October 1940, the RAF lost 1,547 pilots, killed, wounded, or taken prisoner. The Luftwaffe lost nearly 1,900 aircraft. Among those who defended England were Poles, Czechs, Canadians, Australians, New Zealanders, South Africans, men who had traveled from across the world to stand against fascism when it mattered most. On August 20th, Winston Churchill stood before Parliament and spoke words that will never be forgotten. Never in the field of human conflict was so much owed by so many to so few. Those few hundred pilots, the few, had stopped Hitler. They had proven that he could be resisted, that he could be beaten. And in doing so, they had bought the world the time it needed to finish the fight. The Battle of Britain was not just a military victory. It was a psychological turning point. For the first time since the war began, Hitler had failed. The myth of Nazi invincibility had cracked. Had England fallen, the United States would have had no base from which to launch the D-Day invasion in 1944. The Soviet Union would have stood alone in the East. The world we live in today might look unrecognizably different. All of it came down to a few hundred young men deciding every single morning to climb back into their cockpit. That was the Battle of Britain. A battle fought not on the ground, not at sea, but in the sky, by men whose names most of the world has forgotten, but whose courage shaped everything that came after. If stories like this are what you're here for, make sure you're subscribed to War Origins. There's a lot more where this came from. We'll see you in the next one.